Welcome in. Belly up, have a seat, grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome on into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. It is Friday, October 24th. This is episode 181, and we're doing a Week 8 preview. And it's my great pleasure to welcome back to the bar Mr. Bernie, a.k.a. Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
How you doing today, Bernie?
I'm doing all right, Michael. How are you?
Doing very well. Thank you for asking. We've got a big matchup between you and I this week. Are you a little excited, nervous? What's going on here?
No, I am stupidly confident.
Oh, I got half that right. Okay. Anyway. All right. In this show, guys, we have a jam-packed episode for you. Once again, we will set the slate for this weekend's prime time and island games. We'll check in on some player news and practice reports. Check the activity of our waiver wire. Man, we are some cheap managers in our league here. And we will also preview our featured NFL games as selected by you, the audience. Let's see. We'll also go over this week's matchups in the Wingman Fantasy Football League, and we'll see who's on top of the newest and most updated power rankings. We also have our starts of the week and another installment of a fourth and long with Bernie. And we grab our controllers as we're back to it for another Wingman Jam, and we'll dive headfirst into that mailbag. But before we do any of that, I want to make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingman Assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, let's see what's next here. Why is this not moving? Great. Outstanding. There we go. Everything's freezing. Oh, Bernie just left. Is he coming back? I hope so. There he is. Okay. All right. All right, let's start off with our prime time and island games, guys. We have 6 NFL teams on bye this week and some big time players, as we'll be without players from the Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions, Jacksonville Jaguars, the LA Rams, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Seattle Seahawks. All right, those are some big teams out, especially Detroit, the Rams, even a little bit of Seattle here. Seems like most of your guys are out this week due to bye, Bernie.
Yeah, not most of them, but it's a lot of them. I'm not worried about the Seattle players. I can't figure out who to start there anyway.
Okay, all right. Let's check out the primetime games for the teams that did play this week. Starting off with a Thursday night game with the Minnesota Vikings sailing into LA to take on the Chargers at 8:15 p.m. Also, let's see, there is no early game this week. Oh, thank goodness. I'm surprised it wouldn't be Jets Browns or something like that. Okay. All right. So there's no early game, so that part's good. That means our next island game is the Sunday night game where the Green Bay Packers will be churning over to the Steel City to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers at 8:20 p.m. And thank goodness we only have one month. Guys, we're back to normal. This feels so good. We only have one game on Monday night. The Washington Commanders head over to the Plains to take on the Kansas City Chiefs for a powwow at 8:15 p.m. Is that right? 8:15 p.m. on Monday night? That's what I wrote. Hopefully that's right. All right. Which of those 3 island games catch your attention? That Thursday night game, the Sunday night with the Packers, Steelers, and then the Commanders heading over to the Chiefs.
I guess it would be the Packers Steelers. If Jaden Daniels was playing, I would say the Commanders KC, but Packers Steelers would be nice to see. Maybe Micah Parsons could put a licking on Aaron Rodgers.
All right. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, guys. As far as the Thursday night game, we had 11 players in our managers' lineups. Starting off with Amazing Spidey had Kamani Vidal in his lineup up against Team B's Bernie, who had Will Reichert in his lineup. Go Gators had Ladd McConkey and Cam Dicker in his lineup. Cubert's Rage had Keenan Allen and Jordan Addison in his lineup. May Daddy Twos had Jordan Mason in his lineup. The Fantastics had Justin Jefferson in his lineup. King George had both Justin Herbert and Quentin Johnson, while Crazy Fish had the LA Chargers defense. I think this is the most players we've had on any Thursday night, at least the most since opening night. That's a lot of players for 2 teams that are kind of middle-of-the-road teams.
Yeah, it is. There's one important thing there. T-Rich Rage had a lot of points on his bench. He picked up Gadsden and did not start him.
Is that the case? Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I did see he put Jordan Addison in his lineup at the last second. At least that one came through.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It is now time to get into some player news. All right, starting off with Aaron Jones was in fact activated from the IR today, and he was active for the Vikings in the Thursday night game.
Activated.
We also had J.J. McCarthy was ruled out once again, making way for Carson Wentz, who made his 5th consecutive start, and he's showing why he should not get that many starts as he had a tough time on Thursday night. Hassan Haskins was ruled out for the LA Chargers on Thursday night, making way for Kamani Vidal to have most of the work all to himself, although Nyheim Hines and Jarrett Patterson were both called up from the practice squad and got on the field. All right, this one hurts me so much. Mike Evans was officially placed on the IR. It's up to you if you want to call this good news or not. He's already had surgery on his broken clavicle. It was been reported to be a clean break, which means no ligament damage on the AC joint, and I forget the other part that connects to the sternum there. So all the ligaments are good. It was a clean break, which means he's going to be out around 8 weeks, but there's some chatter he might be back even before 8 weeks, which means I have to hold him on to my roster until the fantasy playoffs. So, and also we have Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving have already been ruled out, and Emeka Buka is continuing his limited practices after not missing any time. And Nico Collins has not been practicing this week yet as he deals with that concussion. And due to the late start with the late game last Monday night, he's going to need to get in a full practice by Saturday to have any chance of playing this week. All right, Bernie, let's go through the guys for the Thursday night game. We had one guy activated. J.J. McCarthy is still not back, and Hassan Haskins was out. And we have our Bucks with Mike Evans on the IR. Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving not going to play. Emeka Buka should. And Nico Collins is question mark, but I don't think he's going to play.
Yeah, this needs to be a Rashad White. If he does make it through, if he gets cleared, I just don't see him producing a big game there. Carson Wentz needs to retire. He's just not good. It's nothing against Carson. He's not reading his reads fast enough. They need JJ McCarthy back, big time. And in the interim, whoever their third string is, they just need to play that guy. And then Mike Evans. This is my hot take. I think Mike Evans is going to retire after the season, and I don't think he's going to come back to play. And
All right. All right, guys, moving on along in the news here. We're going back to the Commanders here. We had Jaden Daniels had a hamstring injury last week. He will miss week 8, making way for Marcus Mariota to make his 3rd start of the season in Daniels' absence. Terry McLaurin has had full practices all week. Is there a chance he's finally going to return to the field in week 8? We shall see. It's always optimistic up to this point. We still got a couple days for have it make a downward turn. Deebo Samuel, his teammate who missed last week as well, has also logged in full practices, and he should be getting back onto the field after missing last week. Going over to our 49ers, and this list is getting shorter, Bernie. This is getting exciting. Instead of 5 players, we only got 2 here. Brock Purdy is slowly progressing in terms of his toe injury, but his week 8 availability is still up in the air, while Ricky Pearsall has yet to practice as he's dealing with that knee injury here. Josh Downs, who missed last week with a concussion, has already gotten some full practice this week, meaning he is pretty much through the concussion protocol and should get back on the field. Christian Watson has been practicing in a limited capacity. He has not yet been activated officially from the IR, although he's been designated to I don't get the order there. He's had his practice window open. And the last report was he's looking good, feels good, but it's up to the doctors. I don't know what that means. And Dontavian Wicks has also yet to practice this week, making his week 8 availability, in doubt. Calvin Austin III, Steelers wide receiver, has returned to full practice and should be getting back onto the field after a couple missed games. And Lamar Jackson, this is big, missed practice on Monday, but has returned the last 2 days in a limited capacity here. And it looks like he's on track to make his return in week 8. All right, what do you have on this big list of players here? Anyone catch your attention? Got Commanders and 49ers as a group. And then from there, we got some receivers coming back and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. So Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel, I don't know if they realize that they're not going to win this game without Jaden Daniels. So you might as well let those guys rest one more week. I'd be surprised if they were all full go with Marcus Mariota. And yeah, Brock Purdy, Mac Jones is doing fine. And the other big thing here for me is Lamar Jackson. That helps everybody. That helps Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers. That helps Derrick Henry. That is Likely back. Likely is back. That helps Likely. So everybody's looking good there.
All right. Moving along here, we've got DeAndre Hopkins has missed practice on Thursday with an illness. Not sure about his long-term prospects here. I'm assuming it's just, illness. So hopefully he'll be ready to come back. He's not a big-time fantasy player, but he does help the overall offense. Calvin Ridley has yet to practice this week and looks like he's going to miss his second consecutive game. Garrett Wilson has yet to practice this week and looks like he may miss his second consecutive game in week number 8. While Mason Taylor misses practice with a quad injury. This one makes me a little nervous, and we'll figure that out a little later why that makes me nervous here. And the New York Jets quarterback room, they have yet to name a starter for week number 8. There's been rumblings that they're going to move to Tyrod Taylor. However, Tyrod Taylor has been limited in practice with a knee injury, but Coach Aaron Glenn indicates that it's not serious. Jalen Waddle was added to the injury report this week, missing practice limited in practice on Thursday with a hamstring injury. Your man, DJ Moore, missed practice earlier in the week, but he was upgraded on Thursday as he got in a limited session. Staying with the Bears there, Cole Kmet has not practiced yet this week, and he may miss his second game. And this one hurts me. A.J. Brown has popped up on the injury report midweek with a hamstring injury, and he has yet to practice on either Wednesday or Thursday, which gives me big time pause. I think there's a pretty good chance that he too is going to miss week 8. That's all right. All my receivers can just sit out this week. I don't need them. And then Kareem Hunt has been missing practice with a bone bruise, but he has been ceding work to the rookie Brashad Smith, who's in line to take over that backup role or split back role with Isiah Pacheco. All right, we went through a lot of guys here. Which of these guys catch your attention the most? A lot of New York Jets chatter here, and some big-time receivers with Brown and DJ Moore and A.J. Brown.
Yeah, the receivers really catch my attention. DJ Moore and Cole Kmet here. That's just going to open up Odunze and Swift even more, especially in this game coming up. A.J. Brown, yeah, buddy, I'm so sorry. He's the new roller coaster ride. Calvin Ridley's on this list. He was the old roller coaster ride, but he's just down. And as far as the Jets go, if you're still starting Jets players, man, I'm sorry. You're just having a rough year right now, aren't you? It's not the quarter put what's his name back in, but it's the offensive line and the whole organization. So nothing to see there. Just get rid of your Jets players. Don't start them.
All right. Taking a look at our waiver wire activity this week. It was actually pretty light and pretty inexpensive here. We had 5 waiver bids this week for 4 NFL players, where only 1 NFL player received multiple bids. And Bernie, you had a full $100 of your fab going into this week, and you finally broke open that wallet. Starting out with Will Reichert, went to Team B for $5. There were no other bids for Reichert. Buffalo defense also went to Team B there for $5. However, that was a pretty good bid, as King George put in a secondary bid here at $3. Kyle Monangai went to King George for $4, and Aronde Gaston, a nice cheap. He was like one of the buzz pickups this week. Went to Cubert's Rage for only $2, and he was afraid to put him in the lineup, as Bernie mentioned, as he came through again with another monster performance. All right, Bernie, you open up the wallet for the first time, getting some special teamers here. What do you think about your pickup of Reichert and the Buffalo defense?
I thought this was going to be good. Reichert missed another 53-yarder, I think, 52-yarder at the end of the first half. And he was dead on. He missed it by like a foot, 6 inches, if that. He just didn't get the leg. His foot hit the ground before it hit the ball. They were rushing out there. They didn't have any more timeouts left. It was 4th down. So I'm happy with these pickups because of the buys. I just wanted to let everybody else stress a little bit. And Buffalo's defense, they're not doing good right now, but they might turn it on. And I didn't want to play Minnesota against the Carolina or the
Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah. Yeah, Buffalo defense is one of my top streaming defenses out there, so that was one to pick up. That was a good pickup in my opinion. And
Yeah.
Monangai has been starting to split some carries, even though it's been kind of a under the radar because Swift has been so good the last two games. But with his great performances, Swift has actually been splitting the backfield a lot more with Monangai. And Swift has been banged up, although playing through it. And Gaston once again gets a touchdown and had some big
Yeah.
catches today.
Yeah, Monunga might be a nice stretch flex play there, just because Ben Johnson's he's known to have a dual back option going on, so one might get some touchdowns and might open it up for the other.
All right. All right, guys, it's time to go through our featured NFL preview games here, starting off with game number 1. We have the Chicago Bears heading over to Baltimore, take on the Ravens. That is a Sunday game at 1 p.m. The over-under on this one is at 49.5, which shows you that they expect Lamar Jackson to play. Not only do they have the over-under at 49.5, they have Baltimore favored by 6.5. That would not be the case if they thought Cooper Rush or Snoop Huntley was going to be under center. So the Vegas odd makers are pretty confident that Lamar Jackson's going to play. All right, so how do you think this game's going to go, Bernie, with this high over-under and Baltimore favored by almost a touchdown?
Yeah, I think it's going to hit the over. I think the Bears will cover the 6.5, but I think Baltimore wins this one 27-24.
That's exactly what I have. I have Chicago covering, but Baltimore holding on here. So let's talk about some of the players here. Starting on the Chicago side, we have Caleb Williams at quarterback. I know you might be forced to play him due to bye weeks. If you had a choice between other quarterbacks, would he be? How would you rank Caleb Williams? Is he an automatic start this week with all the quarterbacks out, or are you just playing him because you got him?
No, I think Caleb is still a risky start. He's got the ceiling, but he's still risky for me. He's thrown 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns and 3 interceptions through 6 games, but he's facing a wounded animal right now that's backed into a corner that's getting their quarterback back. So the Ravens defense might show up just because they can't go 1-6. What are they, 1-5 right now?
Yeah.
The Ravens going 1-6. I mean, it could be a potential shootout. That's why I'm not too.
Yeah. So we have Caleb Williams. You have him as a risky start. You're not looking to pick up a streamer. There's not too many good ones out there. You're going to play him with confidence in terms of your options, not confidence in terms of what you expect him to do.
Yeah. I'm playing him with confidence. Also having limited options with Komet and more possibly not playing. It's not that he's going to throw it to Moore, but just to have that weapon on the field helps him out with Adunze. So we'll see, though. We'll see. I'm confident enough to start him because of the buys, and I don't really want to drop anybody to pick up a streaming quarterback at that point.
Fair enough. All right, moving to the running back part of the Chicago Bears team here. DeAndre Swift has been nothing short of awesome, especially the last 2 weeks. Been very steady all year long, especially like I keep mentioning the passing game, but even so, 2 games ago, I mentioned how they were getting him on the outside. Last week, he was running up the middle through the tackles. He was really doing all the things we kind of chastised him for. He was working his way through the crowd as opposed to just getting to space, and he's been playing very well. I think Swift has definitely earned himself at least a running back 2, if not even running back 1. So I think he's ahead of flex. I think he's a must start at this point. Do you have any other thoughts on Swift?
No, he's a must start for me. He's shown that he can do it. He's quick, and he's got the offensive mind at the helm to help him succeed. So he's a must start.
All right, heading over to the receivers, guys. These are guys that I consider to be receiver question marks in terms of receivers, not flexes. They're too good to be flexes unless you have a really awesome team here. We got DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. Odunze's been the better receiver all year long, although he is slowing down a little bit. So we'll see coming out of the bye here if DJ Moore, we got a little more involved. I think they had a bye 2 weeks ago, but he was banged up coming out of that game prior with that groin injury. He's been limited in practice, but he's I expect him to play, or you expect more to play. Let's put it that way.
I do expect him to play, but I don't limited in my opinion.
So between those two, you have a Dunze rated higher than Moore?
Oh yeah, quite a bit higher than Moore. I would say that Dunze is a risky must start. That's how I put Caleb as well. I have them both as a risky, but they're both must starts for this game. But DJ Moore, I would try to avoid.
Really? All
Yeah.
right, interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a strong take on these. Adunze has been better, but I feel like Moore's got to get something going at some point. Just like overall, his stats by the end of the year are gonna level off at something. And being that he's behind, they're probably gonna be backloaded instead of front loaded. I think Adunze's front loaded, and Moore might be backloaded here and have a little better second half of the season, hopefully.
Yeah. The only issue that I have with DJ Moore is that it's a growing slash hit issue, I guess. And that's just one stretch for a catch that coming down could aggravate that and then limit
All
him
right,
for the rest of the
staying with
game.
the Bears for one more section. We've got our what the heck flex tier here. We got Kyle Monangai,
Mhm.
Luther Burden, and is it Chase Loveland? I kind of forgot his first name all of a sudden. Anyway, so these three guys here are these guys worthy of flex play, or are they just gonna wait and see a little bit longer with any of these three guys?
Now, Manangwa is based on the bye weeks. I would put him in as a super flex. What the heck flex?
All right.
Flex two position.
Is Loveland worthy of a tight end start or not? Not even that.
No, I wouldn't say so. Not. No, I wouldn't. I think you have better options out there.
All right, fair enough. Moving to the other side of the ball here, Lamar Jackson's back. I know you like to wait and see when players come back in their first game, but I do you agree? Do you think that's still with Lamar Jackson? Or he's just too good. You got to put him in. You've been waiting 3 weeks. You got to put him in.
Uh, I think you got to put him in, but he's I have both quarterbacks rated the same here as
Okay.
far as risky start. If I had to pick out of these two quarterbacks, though, I would pick Lamar Jackson just because of that capability with his
All
legs.
right. Derrick Henry's been struggling. Well, actually, his last game was better running. He just didn't get the touchdown. He broke 100 yards last game, but he's not getting those big blow up games that he had those first couple weeks of the season. I could see managers being down on Derrick Henry, but this is a pretty good matchup here. I think I don't think he's fallen too far out of favor. At worst, you might not feel great about it, but he's in your lineup no matter what you do, I think, right?
Yeah, Derrick Henry is a must start for me here. Both running backs must starts for me here. I think that especially if Lamar Jackson is playing, the Bears are giving up 137 yards per game, so to the running backs. So yeah, he's fresh legs coming off the bye, like you said. So I think this is a must
All
start.
right, all right. Now we got, just because of the way that their team is constructed, we have their number one receiving options here, but they're not automatic starts. Zay Jones and Rashad Bateman. I'm going to group them together for here, although Jones is probably a little higher than Bateman, but nonetheless, their production is not always that far apart. How confident are you in putting either of these receivers into your wide receiver spot? Or are they flexes at best?
Was I incorrect? Did I say Zay Flowers? Is it not Zay Flowers?
It is Zay Flowers. I wrote it wrong. Thank you for correcting me. Zay Flowers. I see
Yeah,
that now.
yeah. Okay. We've messed up a name or two on the show, so I just want to make
Yeah, I don't
sure
know. I
I'm
wrote
not
that.
gonna.
Zay Flowers, not Zay Jones. I don't know what I just said, but Zay Flowers and Rashad
Yeah.
Bateman. Yeah.
I have them probably about the same. Again, if Lamar plays, they're going to be there. They're not too high up on my list as far as wide receivers. The Bears are leading the NFL with 11 interceptions. So um, if Lamar's head is on right, if he's got some time in the pocket, they both could produce. Um, I think Zay probably has the edge for me, but Bateman can put up the exact same number, exact same stat line as Zay Jones.
All right. And now for our what the heck flex category here. We have Justice Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Mark Andrews, and Isaiah Likely. Are any of these guys worthy of getting into a starting lineup in any capacity, being at a tight end or flex with these four players?
Yeah, I would probably say Likely out of those four. I would start Likely over Loveland if that is any comparison there.
Okay.
I think that he's due up again. He needs to show up and show out to get this team back on the track. I would say Andrews, but it's so situational. He's so touchdown dependent. that likely might be able to get more catches just to move the chains, especially if Lamar Jackson starts to do some nice bootlegs off to the strong side. Likely could be there to help him out.
Yeah, this is one of those, there's no rhyme or reason. I just have a feeling this might be an Andrews game just because like every 4 weeks
Yeah.
there's going to be one and either going to guess right or wrong kind of thing. You can't put them every week. It's just like, oh crap, I got a bye week. I need to throw someone in. Maybe this is an Andrews week. And I think this might be one of those, maybe it's an Andrews week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it could go either way. Yeah, I think both of them, they're kind of like, they're kind of like Flowers and Bateman at this point. If they can pass on the Bears, then I think this is going to be toss up either way there. But I like likely just because of the age factor and the athleticism.
All right, moving on to our next game. We're going to go over here. We have a Dallas Cowboys at the Denver Broncos Sunday at 4:25 p.m. This over-under is huge at 51.5, while Denver is favored at 3.5. How do you think this game is? That's a pretty high over-under. I know these Dallas Cowboys games have been high scoring, but that's a lot of points.
Yeah, I think the over is going to hit. And I think that the Broncos will win this one outright, 31-28.
Oh wow, okay. I've got I've got Dallas covering and winning this game. Actually, I don't know why I have that, but that's what I do. I think Dallas has actually been playing better and better each week, and Denver is very weird. They scored a lot of points and came back. At the end, their stats looked great last week as Bo Nix had 39.5 fantasy points, but they were doing nothing until that fourth quarter last time where the Giants just kind of, I don't want to say let them, but took their foot off the gas or didn't realize how important playing all the way to the end was. I just don't trust Denver. I'm not saying that they've done it. They've had a lot of big games. They've also had a lot of stinkers. So I'm just going to go with the team that's been more consistent in the weirdest way. Dallas has been the most consistent of these two teams, I think.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that logic at all. I believe that the coach and I when I see the Denver players in general, I feel like they're just more bought in and they have a harder time of losing and coming up second game and having a really bad game. So I think they're going to say, "Oh, we almost got beat by the Giants. We took care of business. Let's just keep it rolling here." So the Cowboys are good though. The half point, that hook, that 3.5, that's what scares me. So I wouldn't think that they're going to cover that.
All right, we'll go through these guys a little faster. So let's just start with Dak Prescott and Javonte Williams. These are guys that Javonte Williams has been awesome. Dak Prescott, except for 1 or 2 weeks early, has been great. I think these guys locked in as automatic starters. I think they've earned that.
Yeah, and I would go ahead and put CeeDee Lamb in there too. Must start for all three of them.
Okay, all right. We have CeeDee Lamb you mentioned. So what about his receiver mate George Pickens, who did well last week as well with CeeDee Lamb returning, but not the spike games he was having while he was out. Do we expect George Pickens to kind of slow down here, be more of a 8 to 12 point guy instead of those 29 points he was getting earlier?
I do. I think that he's a little bit of a riskier start just because CD's got that game under his legs, and he might turn out this game.
While we're here, this actually the big part of this question here is: do you think that Patrick Surtain is going to be shadowing, most likely CeeDee Lamb, if shadowing anybody? You think he's going to lock on one side, which might open up Pickens to have a little bit of an easier day?
I don't. I wouldn't say that 100%. I would say that maybe 75%. Just because of George Pickens. I think that Surtain, they might start off man, and then they might shift to some sort of zone scheme towards the end of the game, depending on how Pickens produces.
All right, and Jake Ferguson has actually been really good this year. I would assume he's earned the right to be one of your tight end starters, but is he good enough to be a flex?
Yeah, I think Ferguson. Well, no, for this game, I would say no. I would go ahead and try to avoid him if I can, just because I think the big three over there are gonna take care of business. I think CeeDee Lamb and Javonte Williams and Dak, especially when he gets to that red zone, has the capability of poaching a touchdown. So I would stay clear of Jake Ferguson. They're probably going to need him more to block.
Okay. All right, moving to the other side of the ball here. We've got Bo Nix, who came off, like I said, the highest scoring player of fantasy last week, and that's among a lot of high scoring players. Let's just stick with him real quick. I mean, he's been in been in most managers starting lineups all year, but he has been a little bit of a roller coaster up and down, not been consistent. Although this is a good matchup in terms of a defense that gives up a lot of points. How confident are you on Bo Nix? Is he a top 5 quarterback this week?
Yeah, I think he is. I am must start with Bo Nix. It's a perfect bounce back or keep the ball flowing game. So I think the volume will be there. So I think he's good to go.
And this one's a little interesting to me. Actually have a decision to make here due to all the injuries I have. Oh my gosh, we'll get to that a little bit later. But J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. This is weird, man. Dobbins gets all the work, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing. But Harvey gets 1 or 2 catches that end up going for 30 or 40 yards combined. And by the end of it, they usually have the same score. One guy gets 70 yards rushing while the other guy gets, 3 catches for 15 yards and maybe a score. Dobbins has definitely been on the field way more, but Harvey is kind of I have a sneaky suspicion here that Harvey might get some, not necessarily more play, but have some bigger plays and hopefully get in the end zone this week. What do you think about Dobbins versus Harvey? Are they even worth starting unless you're desperate?
Yeah, risky starts for me, especially if it's a potential negative game script for their running game there. So I would be hesitant to start either one of them in this game.
Yeah, right now I've got Harvey in my starting lineup as I'm just waiting. Luckily the timing of all my games are pretty good here. Is that my best players play at 1:00, that Nico Collins and AJ Brown, and they're probably both out. So I have Harvey in, but if one is playing, Harvey's the one I'm first going to pull out. He's kind of like that. What the heck? Maybe I get lucky kind of thing. Who knows? He might have a really good day here as it's a good matchup. But moving on to the receivers here, Courtland Sutton, I think, has earned himself to be an automatic start, a lower end number 2 receiver, but nonetheless, he's the main guy. Anything you want to add on Courtland Sutton before we get to some of our flex shots here?
No, I agree.
All right, now we got Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, and Evan Ingram. It seems like the receivers, even including Courtland Sutton, is a little bit of a round robin here, although Sutton's been becoming more consistent lately. But it's rarely both Mims and Franklin, but it's always one of them gets in the end zone. Which one are you like in this week between Mims and Franklin?
I think Mims is the bigger boomer bust flex option out of those guys.
And does Evan Ingram deserve a tight end start or a flex spot?
Possibly, but I don't have him on my radar.
Very good. All right, moving on to our last game of our featured preview games here. The Monday night game, the Washington Commanders against the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been on fire. Again, I have this game at 8:15 p.m. I hope that's correct. The over-under is at 48. Kansas City is favored by 12.5 points, a huge number. I know they're going against the backup quarterback and they're at home, but my goodness, that's going to have to take a perfect game for Kansas City to cover. How do you think this game is going to go in terms of scoring and the covering here?
Yeah, I think they will cover that. I think it'll be Kansas City 34, Commanders 17, and that is still going to fall under that 47 projected.
34-17 is more than that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. I'm sorry. It's going to go over. My math. I didn't carry the 1.
Very good. I got Washington cover. That's just too big. Although that score you said makes a lot of sense. I can actually see that coming through. I don't like betting on big time spreads here. So I'm going to have Washington cover, but KC for the win as they have completely turned their season around after that first 1-3 start, whatever it was. All right, now to some players here. Marcus Mariota had one good game as a reliever and one not so good game. Again, we've got a lot of teams on bye, including Jared Goff, Stafford, among others. Is Marcus Mariota going to find his way as a streaming quarterback this week?
Yes, I think Marcus could be a streaming quarterback. He's a risky start, but most backup quarterbacks are risky starts. So I think he'll be okay. He'll get some garbage time, catch up points. He'll be forced to try to get into the end zone. So I don't doubt that he'll put up a decent fantasy line.
Do we think Kansas City can have back-to-back shutouts? They just completely shut down the Raiders last week.
Yeah, I don't think the NFL will allow that.
Okay.
It's not good TV.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to the running back here. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had 2 of the most favorable matchups back-to-back with the Bears and the Cowboys and could not get it done. He had a couple good games earlier, But since he's had the workload to himself, he had that one first game. We're like, all right, here we go. And he had a great schedule, did not take advantage of it. I think you have to be you're probably still going to start him because he's a starting running back. It's a tough matchup. He's getting all the work, but it's a tough matchup, and he's not performing in even better matchups. How confident are you in playing Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt? Is he a running back, a flex, or a bench?
He's a bench for me on this one. He's just been a big letdown. The question is not how confident you are in Bill, but how confident are you in Marcus Mariota's arm? Is he going to have a complement of receivers he can throw it to? I don't think so, which means that Kansas City will be loading that box up, and that's just going to be a tough sledding for that run game.
Fair enough here. All right, we got our receivers. Both these guys missed last week. Terry McLaurin has missed more than that. But so far, McLaurin and Deebo Samuel have practiced in full. It's trending towards them getting back on the field. I have more confidence in Deebo getting back than McLaurin just because we've had the rug pulled out from underneath us over and over again with McLaurin. What do you think about these receivers coming off of missed games? Are they worth getting right back into your lineup? Are we wary of the injured players here?
If active, Debo's the risky start. If he is active, you got to start him because he's going to be Mariota's best weapon. So, Debo, but I'd stay clear of McLaurin. I'd want to wait and actually see him get on the field and play a game.
I got a question for you because Debo is part of my team as well, and this is the only guy that's harder because they play Monday night. If you weren't sure he was going to play by Sunday, and they won't tell you by then, would you play Harvey and get someone you know is going to play, or would you wait and hope for Debo and try and find a backup plan as a last-second emergency play?
Yeah, Luke McCaffrey is your backup plan. Luke or Zach Ertz are your backup plan there.
Then the question there is, would you rather have Harvey or Luke McCaffrey?
Probably Harvey, but I've been high on Luke, but the whole team situation is just not good. So probably Harvey.
All right. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of worried about. I got to decide whether or not Debo is going to play or not.
You know what? I like to gamble. I personally, my brain says Harvey, but my heart says Luke McCaffrey because I just want him to succeed.
You're trying to set me up here. I get it. All right. All right. Now, so we got McCaffrey.
Who are you playing this week?
So we got McCaffrey, Lane, and Ertz.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the two receivers aren't worth playing. We already showed last week without Debo and McLaurin, they both didn't do anything last week in a plus matchup against Dallas. So I wouldn't play them even if Debo and McLaurin are out. I definitely wouldn't play them if McLaurin and Debo are in. Well, now we have to talk about Ertz here. He's been a touchdown-dependent player, but he has scored at least 3 or 4 different weeks. Is Ertz worthy of a tight end? He's definitely not worthy of a flex, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a low floor, low ceiling tight end too, in my opinion.
All right. Moving over to the Kansas City side here, like I said, they've been on fire. Mahomes has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not number one. He's earned himself an automatic start. So let's go right into the running backs here. This is a little more interesting as Isiah Pacheco's had a tough year. To me, he looked a lot better last year. He's one of my trade for candidates right now. If I could try and pull it off, I would. Although all my guys are hurt, so it's hard to trade hurt players for healthy ones. But Pacheco, Brashard Smith is, I don't know his snap percentage last week. I think it was up to 45%. And Hunt was a little banged up, but he hardly played last week. So I don't know if that's because of a changing of the guard or an injury status here. Why don't you talk about your confidence either starting, playing, or benching these 3 running backs, Pacheco, Smith, and Hunt?
Yeah, I'm going to start Pacheco, and I'm just going to not worry about the other 2. Smith and Hunt, it would be avoid, if possible, have them on your bench. But I think Pacheco could have a possibly a good game here, just to eat up time once they get out to a 2-3 score lead.
Yeah, I think Pacheco has a chance to have a really good next few weeks, if not the rest of the season. All right, getting on these receivers here. Both these guys are pretty much automatic starts. Rashee Rice in his first game back last week was a monster, especially early in the game, got going right off the bat. And then Xavier Worthy. What's your confidence level in either of these 2 guys? Are they automatic starts or we have some hesitation?
I think Rashee Rice is my automatic start. Worthy might be a little bit riskier start for me. I think Rice is just going to keep ramping up, and it's just going to get, no doubt, wide receiver 1.
All right, now for what the heck flex and tight end part here, we have Tyquan Thornton, Hollywood Brown, and Travis Kelce. How many of these guys get in your lineup as one of your last flex spots? And is Kelce worthy of a tight end start if you play them?
I think at this point now, I would normally say Hollywood is a little bit above Thornton, but it seems that Thornton is just got a pretty good trust factor going with Mahomes. So I think they're equal. I think if you have either one, you could play either one with confidence in that flex spot. I don't think one would be better than the other. And Kelsey is a must start for me.
You say he's a must start tight end?
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right. Does he crack that? Does he crack the list as a flex or not quite?
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get. Yeah, I would flex him. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. It is now, as we get into week 8 here, it's time to see who's playing who in this week's matchups.
This week's matchup.
All right, guys. Starting off with this week's matchup, we have Michael's Amazing Spidey somehow at 3-4 up against Bernie's Team B at 4-3, and both managers are missing a lot of players. One due to bye, one due to injuries. What do you have on this matchup, Bernie?
Oh, this is going to be the battle of the benches coming up here. We got Romeo Dobbs for Team B is playing. Zay Flowers might see some action. And Rashad White might see some more action. That's pretty good. And then on the other side, we got Debo Samuel, questionable still. Tyler Warren got a tight end playing, and Brees Hall. So I would lean towards Team B, but I've already seen Thursday night score, and Vidal has scored 19.2 points. Thursday night running backs are my death nail.
At least hitting at 30 points. That's a better start for you this week.
It is a better start. So we'll see. I think it'll come down to these secondary players here.
Yep. All right, moving along, we have Paul's Qubit Rage, the hottest team in the league with 4 consecutive wins. He's at 4-3 right now, up against King George, who's also at 4-3. I'm not sure about their buys this week. What do you have on this matchup?
We got Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Herbert. Aaron Rodgers on Qubit Rage and Justin Herbert on King George. I think it's going to come down to this stat alone. They're both 6'6" quarterbacks, tallest in the league. And I'm going to go ahead and lean to Justin Herbert on this one. I think Aaron will have a good game against his old team, but I don't think it's going to be as good as Justin's.
All right. Our next game,
so King George with a win.
Okay. Our next game, newly renamed Ben's Go Gators at 4-3, up against Reggie's Lionize at 1-6. Oh, no. What do you have on this matchup?
Oh, wow. I'm just going to say Go Gators is going to win this one. We have Jordan Love, Derrick Henry, Ladd McConkey. And on the other side, as of now, Justin Fields, Judkins, and Egbuka with a questionable tag on him. So Lionize has got a little bit of work to do in that quarterback position if he wants to compete. So Go Gators has a win as of
I was
now.
considering trying to trade him Joe Flacco to help him out and maybe take a player off his team, but he has so many bad players, I don't know who I'd take. He's either got really good players or really bad players, so it's kind of hard to, deal with him.
Yeah.
All right, our next one here is Andrew's Crazy Fish off of his second win of the season at 2-5 up against Nick's Waddle Away with an improbable victory last week at 3-4. Waddle Away has been decimated with injuries, but CeeDee Lamb came back right on time to help him get the victory last week. What do you have on this matchup between Crazy Fish and Waddle Away?
Ooh, I should just give it to Crazy Fish every week that he starts Daniel Jones. So we got Daniel Jones, Chuba Hubbard, and Drake London. The Atlanta Falcons offense is a dart throw at this point in the season. They're either on or they're off. Waddle Away has Lamar Jackson, Ramondre Stevens, and Hunter Henry, but we'll put CeeDee Lamb in that spot. The only issue that I have with that side is he's got Lamb and Pickens on the same team and starting at the same time. So I don't know. Maybe for this game that will help. I'm going to go with Waddle Away for this one.
All right. Our next one here is matchup between our last two champions, as Alex they took our jobs. The champion from last year at 4-3, up against Jimerson's Red Sox Nation, who won the previous 3 championships prior to that at 2-5 and struggling. What do you have on this matchup?
Battle of the quarterbacks again. We've got Josh Allen for Red Sox Nation, last year's MVP, against Baker Mayfield, this year's front runner for MVP. I'm going to go ahead and lean towards Josh Allen on this one, just because he's coming off of the bye. And they are coming off of a bye, correct?
Which team? I'm sorry. Yes, Buffalo. Yeah.
Buffalo. Okay. Because they're coming off of a bye, and Baker is just struggling at the moment to find people to throw the ball to.
All right. Our next one here is another matchup between 4-3 teams. Corey's May Daddy Twos, fresh off a loss to Bernie's Team B last week against Ken's The Fantastics, who was the highest scoring team last week, both at 4-3. What do you have on this matchup?
Oh, yeah. So Fantastics has got Jalen Hurts, Alvin Kamara, and Devontae Smith on his team. And on the other side, May Daddy has Brock Purdy, Jordan Mason, and Jamar Chase. So he might have to put Mac Jones back in. It's kind of like back and forth at this point. I'm going to go ahead and lean towards Fantastics to win this one.
All right. And this is the biggest matchup of the year so far. Our first and second place team, they have the same record, only separated by 2 points in the overall scoring for the standings. Brian's under 40 at 5-2, up against Jeff's Always Right, also at 5-2. Jeff, I realize he started off 5-0, but he's very top loaded. And once he had Puka Nacua go out, he's really been struggling. And Nacua is out again due to bye. Is that going to be the difference in this matchup?
No, it might not be the difference in this matchup. The difference might be he doesn't have a defense currently. So he needs to get a defense. His defense is on bye, and he doesn't have a backup defense on his bench, and he has 2 empty bench spots now. Last week he had 1 empty bench spot. Now he's got 2. So whatever this guy's doing, he needs to do it quicker. I'm going to give this one to under 40 just because he doesn't have a full lineup on this side over here.
All right, guys. It is now time to take a look at our updated power rankings.
I have the power! Wingman Power Ranking.
All right, that probably went really chunky. Sorry about that. All right, guys, our updated power rankings are as follows here. Bernie, why don't you run us down some of our updated power rankings here? Did anyone move? Did anyone move at all?
The top 3 stay the same. Always Right, Never Wrong, Team B, and I'll take the under 40, still sit at the 1, 2, and 3 spots respectively. Cubit's Rage has bumped up a little bit. May Daddy's has fallen a little bit. The bottom, we have the same 3 teams. They just shuffled them. Crazy Fish, Amazing Spotty, and Lion Eyes now sit at the 12, 13, and 14 spot. And that's pretty much it. Everybody else is just 1 or 2 spots up or down.
All right, very good. All right, let's see what's next here. All right, guys, it is time to get into this week's starts of the week. Bring it in. Take a knee. Who wants it in? Oh, pick me! Oh, I know! Me! All right, son, don't let me down. We're in.
Wingman Fantasy Football starts the...
All right, let's take a look at, well, first, before we go over our review of last week, I've got a question for you, Bernie. So I mentioned, I want a fair assessment here. In our last show, right, we had the starts of the week. I mentioned Dylan Gabriel as a start of the week. I didn't realize, that was early, and I didn't realize there was going to be such bad weather. I did tell you prior to Sunday that I was going to change that. What is the call here? Do I have to keep Gabriel? I'll take whatever you say. Do I have to take Gabriel, or can I take my replacement that I did tell you prior to the game?
No, you could take the replacement. That as long as the game didn't kick, I'm okay with that.
So I'm just going to say this now before the review, just so you guys know out there. I know I didn't tell you guys out there, but I did tell Bernie, and he has proof there for me. I switched from Dylan Gabriel, as that game was going to be very windy and rainy, and switched to Herbert, and that worked out very well for me. All right, so going into last week, as a show, we were 15-18. I was 8-8, while Bernie was 7-10. And Bernie's, why don't you tell us your starts of the week, all three positions for me from last week?
From last week. At quarterback, I had Sam Darnold, and running back, I had Quinshawn Judkins, and at wide receiver, I had Xavier Worthy.
All right, so Sam Darnold was projected at 15.6, came in at under that at 12.6. This one we both wanted Quinshawn Judkins here as they're playing the Miami Dolphins, and he came through. Projected at 12.1, came in at 26.4. And Xavier Worthy projected at 10, could only get 6.3 as Rashee Rice made his what's the word I want? His appearance felt. That's not the word I wanted. Anyway, he came in and took a lot of the work there. So unfortunately, Bernie, you were 1-2 last week, but Judkins was a huge time, big plays. He more than doubled his projection. Due to what we talked about here, at quarterback, I had Justin Herbert. Not sure what his projection was, but he scored 31.9 points, crushed that. Ramondre Stevenson projected at 10.3, came through at 15.8. And Courtland Sutton projected at 10.7, came in at 13.7. So last week, I finally had a 3-0 week. So after last week, I was 3-0. Bernie was 1-2. So our new total as a show is 19-20. Oh, we're so close to 500, Bernie. Thank you. 19-20. I moved up to 11-8, and Bernie is at 8-11. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. But now it's time to let you in on our starts of the week for this week, week number 8. All right, Bernie, who is your quarterback start of the week?
I'm sorry. Can we back that up a second?
Yeah.
You said you were 11-8, and I'm 8-11. That's 500, bud.
That would be, yep. So let's see.
19-19.
I'll double check it later.
Okay.
Oh, actually, let me do it now. I'm going to pause this real quick because now I want to find this out. All right, I had all the numbers right with the last one. So yeah, we are 19-20 as a group here. I'm 11-8, and Bernie's 8-12. I apologize for that, Bernie. You're worse than we thought. Okay,
Yeah.
just kidding. All right, so now let's get into this week's starts of the week. Bernie, why don't you start us off with your quarterback start of the week?
All right, for my quarterback, I've got the old man sitting in the restaurant for a table for one.
All right. Yeah. So I'm nervous here. I got Joe Flacco on my bench. I'm actually putting him in right now over Drake May. That's going to be my back and forth. I really don't know, but with you saying him being the start of the week, that makes my decision easy. I'm going to play Drake May. I'm just kidding. All right. So my quarterback start of the week this week is Caleb Williams up against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens give up the second most points to the quarterback position. Caleb Williams is my quarterback start of the week. All right. Who do you got for your running back?
All right, for my running back, we've got the Isiah Pacheco. He's going up against the Washington Commanders defense, and I only projected at 9.1 points. He can definitely beat that.
Yeah, 9.1. That's one of those plays. He should beat it anyway, but that's just too juicy. There's a couple of guys I was going to pick. I was going to pick Zay Flowers. Spoiler, I'm not, but his projection was 13, so I couldn't do it. Just too high of a projection to go against. Just to finish out my previous thoughts. Sorry about that. Caleb Williams is projected at 15.8 in the game with almost a 50-point over-under. The quarterback's projected less than 16. That's juicy, the same way your Pacheco 9.1 is. All right, my running back start of the week, a little bit off the board here. I like the projection here, and we're not sure how the workload's going to go, but I got Chuba Hubbard taking over the backfield once again for Carolina Panthers. They were pretty much 50-50 with Rico Dowdle last week, but against the Buffalo Bills, who give up the 5th most points to the running back position, I think Chuba Hubbard's got a chance to get in the end zone here and beat that 9.4 point projection. Chuba Hubbard is my running back start of the week.
Very nice, very nice. All right, for wide receiver, I was going to pick one of your wide receivers, but you don't have any. So I'm going to go ahead with Courtland Sutton, projected at 10 points. And Denver is going up against the Dallas Cowboys, and we went over this game earlier. Should be a shootout.
All right, this one's a little risky. He came up on the injury report, so I may change this on Sunday morning. I hate doing this, but I'm going just for the matchup here and the opportunity. I'm going with rookie tight end out of the New York Jets. That's crazy, I know. Mason Taylor, projected at only 6.5 points. You have to remember here, the Cincinnati Bengals just gave up 4 touchdowns to tight ends last week. to the Steelers. They've given up 7 touchdowns to tight ends in the last 2 weeks, 9 touchdowns to tight ends over the whole year. Mason Taylor against those Cincinnati Bengals, who give up the most points to the tight end position. The rookie's going to do it this time. He's going to break out. Thank you, Tyrod Taylor. All right, so Mason Taylor is my receiver start of the week.
In the illustrious words of the Jets owner, if we could just complete a pass.
That's all I'm banking on. A couple completions. All right, here we go. All right, guys, it is now time for my favorite Friday morning segment. It should be yours. It is time for a 4th and long with Bernie.
First down, the game's over. Go for it.
This measurement could determine the Giants'
It is
season.
time for 4th and long.
With Bernie.
All right. I don't have my monitor on, so hopefully I'm on and ready to go here. All right. 4th and long. You know what's funny? Nobody really chooses to be a football fan. It just kind of happens. Like catching a cold, but way more expensive and emotionally damaging. I'm Bernie. And 4th and long, where we explore the lighter side of football and life. Today's question: how do we actually become fans of our teams? Because let's be honest, the process is rarely logical. For most of us, fandom is inherited, passed down through the generations like grandma's china, or your uncle's questionable political opinions. You know, you're born into it. Your dad's a Cowboys fan, so you're a Cowboys fan. No questions asked. It's basically birthright. And the guilt is real. Try switching teams in a family of diehards. You might as well move on to another state. It's like those family businesses where everyone just assumes the kids will take over the bakery, except instead of bread, you're inheriting decades of heartbreak and one Super Bowl ring your grandfather won't stop talking about. Right now, teams like the Colts at 6-1 are making their fans very happy with their inherited loyalty, while others, well, Dolphins fans, let's just say some families are questioning their ancestors' decision-making skills. Now, I'm going to give you a little insight onto my personal fandom. I became a fan because I was born into it. Miami Dolphins. Dad was a Dolphin fan. We lived in South Florida. It is what it is. But then I moved to the Atlanta area, and I think I adopted the NFC team of the Atlanta Falcons. And then the Dolphins were so bad that we have a friend named Reggie, and aka Lionized. He's a Lions fan, and they're a good team. So I was like, well, why don't I just pick a good team? So I think I'm just a temporary Lions fan until the Dolphins don't suck anymore. Does that make any sense? No, none at all. But here's where it gets weird. For those of us who weren't born into fandom, the reasons we pick our teams are absolutely bonkers. Let me give you some real examples that I've heard over the years. I like their jerseys in Madden 07. Legitimate reason for a 20-year commitment? I don't know about that. The geography. A kid in Montana rooting for the Dolphins because Dolphins are cool? Nah, I don't know about that either. What about the college loyalty? Your favorite college player gets drafted, you follow them to the pros. That one I can see. The logo looked sick. Raiders fans, we all see you there, bud. Pure contrarian energy. Everyone likes the winners, so I'm picking the Browns. This was way before the recent success that the Browns had. Last, they were on TV. Back in the day, you rooted for whoever actually was broadcast in your area. And I can relate to that. But on the baseball side, we were all Atlanta Braves fans till the Marlins had their franchise. Just because that's what we saw on TV. We saw Braves games, so we were all Braves fans. It's basically like choosing your Hogwarts house, except the sorting hat is a weird combination of ESPN highlights and your dad's old jerseys. And which team had the coolest helmet when you were 7? And let's not forget the wild card factor. You got the jersey as a gift. Suddenly, you're ride or die for a team you couldn't find on a map last Tuesday. Now, here's the beautiful, terrible truth of it all. Once you're in, you're in. You can't just quit. It's not a gym membership. Not that that's easy to quit. The suffering is part of it. Bad seasons, heartbreaking losses, questionable coaching decisions. You stay anyway, because that's what fans do. There's always the bandwagon versus the diehard debate. You know the ones. They show up when the team's winning, they disappear when things get rough. But honestly, even bandwagon fans eventually catch feelings. That's how they get you. It's a lot like relationships and career choices. You stumble into it, half by accident, half by design, and then years later, you're explaining to your therapist why the fourth quarter interception ruined your entire weekend. Take the Packers right now. Sitting at the top of the NFC North, their fans are feeling validated. The tough years made this moment so much sweeter. That's the deal. You sign up for the roller coaster, not just the fun parts. So here's the thing. It doesn't actually matter how you became a fan. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's the random jersey. Maybe you threw a dart at a map. Maybe you just like the way they played one Sunday afternoon. What matters is you showed up and you stayed. That's fandom. That's loyalty. That's the beautiful, irrational, completely human thing we do, where we tie our emotions to 53 guys in matching outfits who don't even know we exist. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. As we head into week 8, with teams like Indianapolis sitting pretty at 6-1 and others struggling to find their identity, Miami Dolphins, remember, your team's record this week doesn't change why you became a fan in the first place. You didn't choose the life for the wins. You chose it for the feelings. And brother, that feeling is forever. I'm Bernie. Thanks for hanging out with Fourth and Long. Now go argue with someone about why your team is better than theirs. That's what we do.
All right. Very good, Bernie. Did you happen to see that clip of the Jets, the teenage Jets fan who they interviewed him after the loss? He's like, I hate this team so much. I'm not leaving. I was born into it, but I hate this team so much.
Yes, that amongst other things sparked that Fourth and Long.
So I grew up as a Browns fan because my family's from Cleveland, but we were in South Florida. So I was not a Dolphins fan during the Marino era. I was a Bernie Kosar. I had a Bernie Kosar poster on my wall. And you mentioned that kind of what you were talking about before. When they left to go to Baltimore, I stopped being a Browns fan because they weren't a Browns team anymore. So it was at 94 or so. And they came back in, I believe, 1999-ish. And they had the number 2 pick. And if we went to UCF during Dante Culpepper's run, if they would have drafted Culpepper, which was what I was hoping to do, I would have become a big Browns fan once again, would have come right back. Because by that point, I was, they weren't my hometown team, but they were gone. I just waiting for an excuse to get back on that Browns bandwagon. They took Tim Couch instead of Dante Culpepper, and then I never got back on that bandwagon. I was homeless and became fantasy football player and just looking for my favorite players.
Yeah. Wasn't it like 98, 99? No, 96, 95? Wasn't Kosar on the Dolphins? Did you become
He did. He was a backup for a year or two. Yeah. That's when he was very, very old and very bad by that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It is time. We're back. We're starting phase number 3 of the Wingman Jam. So let's unveil this week's Wingman Jam.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Wingman Jam with Bernie the Bounty Hunter and Amazing Spidey. Bagala. Indianapolis Colts, Denver Broncos. It's time to put our Knicks on the table.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
All right, Bernie, we're starting off our new phase number 3. For all those other players who weren't in the Showcase Showdown, your points will roll on over. So, Ken, you still got a point if you want to jump back in. And Andrew also has a point since he didn't make the Showcase Showdown in phase number 2. Everyone else resets at 0. All right, Bernie, you're going with Daniel Jones.
Hey, lady, you call him Dr. Jones.
And Jonathan Taylor, who's been a stud, has at least 3 games over 30 points this season. I'm going with Nixon Sutton against those Dallas Cowboys in a potential shootout. I think you've got the inside track here, but we'll see how this game plays out.
Oh, I got confidence in your side there. This is going to be a good one. This is going to come down to it.
All right, guys. It is now time to dive headfirst deep into the mailbag.
You've got mail.
You've got mail. Wingman Fantasy Football.
Mailbag! All right, this one comes in from Anonymous. I've heard you cry and complain about your rant, Mike, but Mike Evans is done. Just drop him. Rip off the Band-Aid. It's over. I don't know, man. They said he's going to be back in 8 weeks or fewer. That gives him back in week 13 or 14. That'd be a pretty big boost to a roster in the playoffs. I'm going to hold on to him for a couple more weeks at least, probably till the end of the year, because I got no one else to get. What do you think about holding on to Evans? Should I just cut bait now, or should I hold on to him and see how if I get a chance to play him in the playoffs? You think he's going to retire, so I heard that part.
Yeah, but the last one that you said, it says it all. There isn't anybody to pick up right now in our league. So you'll be picking up a tight end that might catch a touchdown or two. You hold on to him until you can't. I mean, you got an IR spot, right? Is he IR eligible?
He is, but I've had Brandon Ayuk in that spot all year, so hopefully he gets back soon. But now I have someone to put in that place who's just as good, if not better. So we'll get some in about 2 weeks when if Ayuk comes back, then I'll have a little better idea of how I'm going to manage my roster with those guys.
I don't see him coming back after this year, so hopefully they make a run. I'm pushing for Baker. At least one Florida team can do something worthwhile for our state. So I'm pushing for Baker. So hopefully they get really far into that playoffs and he does come back and make an impact. But fantasy will be over by then, in my opinion.
This one comes in from a Thinkable Raider here. It says, looking at your last show, it was nice to see the old bar set up. Some good memories and some lost memories. Good times. Thank you, Thinkable Raider. Yeah, like I said, we still have the tent. The beer garden tent's actually still in the yard. I haven't broken it all the way down. I'm bringing them piece by piece to get this thing together. But I actually enjoyed being in that barn. I can't do it as a duo. It's not enough space there. But as a single shot every once in a while, that seemed like a decent little backdrop to have there.
Yeah. Definitely being at a real bar where you could knock on the wood and grab an actual drink without leaving the room and not having green behind you all the time.
What are you talking about? There's no green in here, dude. This is all real. All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for those messages, guys. Don't forget, you can pick your Wingman Jam teams as well. You have until Sunday, or actually any combination of players for a game that hasn't started yet. We'll take you up all the way to the Monday night game, so don't feel like you're left out. You have a chance, and we're starting fresh here, guys. There's only 1 point in the book for a couple of our participants, so you've got a real good chance to earn yourself a seat into the Showcase Showdown after phase 3 here. That's weeks 8 through 10. 3 weeks is a phase. Once again, congratulations to Austin, who took down the first Showcase Showdown, earned himself a t-shirt that is going to be printed up and shipped out in the mail in the next week or so. So congratulations to you. All right, guys, I want to thank you all so very much for joining us for another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League podcast. If you want to find our podcast and listen to our voices, we're out there on almost every podcasting platform. Just search Wingman the League on those platforms, and we'll come to the top of your search. While you're there, guys, do me the favor, give us a 5-star rating, leave a comment, and let us know what we can do to be a bit of a better show for you. And if you want to see our glitchy graphics, our haunted bar room, virtual or not, you can find us on our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube or youtube.com/@wingmanfantasyfootball. When you head over there, guys, do me the favor, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment and pick your Wingman Jam teams. All right, with that being said, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty.
And remember, your favorite football team's owner is a direct reflection of the team.
Yes. All right, bye, guys. See ya.